Hello everyone. So my name is Nikki. Welcome to my channel. This is my very first video on this channel. So I was recently inspired to start documenting our homeschool journey, and I know that I myself have found so much inspiration from other moms who have shared their day-to-day and their journey, and I want to be that for other moms. And of course, this year I feel like we are going to see a huge boom in our community with new homeschooling parents, and it's so exciting. So that's what has kind of inspired me to start this channel. So I hope that you find it super helpful, and I can't wait to start connecting with new moms out there. So this first video is going to be short and sweet. I just want to introduce myself and talk a little bit about why we decided to homeschool. So, as I said, my name is Nikki and I live in Michigan, which will be important for some other videos that I plan to do later on. But we live in the Metro Detroit area in the suburbs. So we live in Michigan. I have been married for about 9 years, and we have 4 boys, and we will be welcoming our 5th boy in about 4 months. So we will have 5 boys. Yep, I know, it's a lot. So exciting, fun time, but very interesting. So my oldest just turned 7 last week. So we have a 7-year-old, soon to be 6-year-old, 3.5-year-old, 1.5-year-old, and then new baby brother will be born in December. They're all about 2 years apart. My oldest 2 are 1 year apart. It's made for a very interesting time, but I think that's definitely has a lot to do with why we homeschool and just the beauty of it. So we actually started homeschooling 2 years ago. We will be going into our 3rd school year this year. And as we enter this new school year, I start to like reminisce and like think back in the last couple of years and all the things that I've learned. And I wanted to share today about how we got started homeschooling and why we homeschool. So it started back about 2.5, 3 years ago when my oldest was in preschool. So actually, my 2 oldest boys were in preschool at the time. My oldest son did 1 full year of 3-year-old preschool at our local, it's a private Christian school, and they offer preschool. He had done 1 whole year, and he was in his 2nd year. He was 4, and he was in what they consider their Young Fives program. And so he was in a mixed class with 4 and 5-year-olds. So we got about halfway through the year, and that was also the same year that my boys are outside. So I'm like trying to film this while they're outside, and my youngest is napping. So if you hear them, that's what it is. So my 2nd oldest, he was 3 at the time. He was in the 3-year-old preschool at the time. So I had both of them in preschool, and about halfway through the year, we started running into issues with the administration office and expectations that they had of parents that weren't reasonable. Believe it or not, I've actually done this before, but I have now switched my memory card 3 times. So here's to hoping this one lasts. Okay, anyway, so once we pulled them, I was like trying to figure out what to do with them at home in the meantime. and it kind of led me down a rabbit hole that I'm so glad that I went down. But once we started doing things at home and I started like researching what homeschooling looks like and what it can be, I like just had this idea that maybe we could just do this like permanently. Maybe it didn't have to be temporary. At the time, I sounded like a crazy person because when I took this idea to my husband, he was like, "You wanna what do you want to do? What is that? What do you no, you don't want to do that." It was definitely not something that was ever on my radar. It was something that I wasn't very knowledgeable about at the time or prior to that. And I was just very ignorant to what homeschooling can look like and what it is. And I didn't know. I just didn't know. And any opinions that I had had about it up to that point were really societal opinions that I had absorbed, because I truly didn't know a whole lot about it. Even though my cousin had actually homeschooled for a couple of years, a few years prior, even then I still didn't really know a whole lot about it. So I was just very ignorant, and it wasn't until this point in time when I started looking into it, and then my husband and I really prayed on it, and I just continued to pray for God to lead me here, because it was really, it really and truly was like from left field, because I never ever wanted to do this. And now I'm so grateful for it, and I'm so glad that we listened to what God was putting on our hearts. But at the time, even though I had the idea and I wanted to do it, I was still like, really? Like, am I gonna do this? Because this is crazy. It's a little bit crazy. This is not what people do. You send your kids to school. That's what people do. So once we decided to do it, we're like, okay, we're gonna do this. We really like sat down and talked about what are the reasons to do this? Like, why should we do it? Why shouldn't we do it? Pros and cons. And really the cons were very small, and the pro list far exceeded everything else. And it really came down to some core values that we have. And you know, at the time we did not know what our future held, but I just can't ever explain enough like how God truly put this on my heart and on his, and it all was purposeful, because what unfolded the next couple of years, us homeschooling has benefited us in so many ways, benefited our family in so many ways, and we would have never known that. We would have never known that at the time when we decided to do this. So it's crazy to like think about like where we started and why we started, to see all of the other things that have unfolded since then. And it's just incredible. So like I said, it really came down to like some core ideals that we have, and that's really what I wanted to share. So there's no one reason. There's no one reason why. This isn't, we didn't necessarily homeschool because we just don't like public school. This isn't really about public school. It is a little bit, but it's more about our family and less about public school. Do I always like public school? No. But our decision for our family has no reflection on public school or what other families decide to do, or if other families decide to send their kids to public school. There is no, we don't sit here and say that our choice is better. We just make different choices, and everyone does what is best for their family, and this is what is best for our family. So that being said, some of the things that we love and why we chose to do this. Number one is to maintain and grow our family unit. We love the dynamic that we have been able to create within our family, and we wouldn't have that otherwise. Like I'd mentioned earlier, what unfolded the next couple of years, we didn't even know was going to happen, but my husband ended up getting a couple different jobs over the last couple of years, and they've all been non-traditional schedules. So he is not working during the day like most people. He either was working midnights or afternoons. He's currently still in afternoons. So if we did not homeschool, my children would not see their father Monday through Friday. Literally wouldn't see him. And that would have been the case for the last 2 years. They wouldn't have seen him. They would only have seen him on the weekends. And yuck, like who wants that? Like no, and of course I know that some people, that's just the reality, but thankfully that doesn't have to be our reality because of one simple thing, and it's because we choose to homeschool. So that's just one part of it. And the other side is, you know, myself and my husband being able to create these wonderful relationships with our kids, and you know, me as their mom getting to watch them grow and help them learn, and being able to experience all that is just priceless. You can't replace that, and I'm so grateful that I get to be a part of that. And aside from us as their parents, them as siblings, they have the most amazing bond. It's like brings me to tears because they wouldn't have that. They just wouldn't be able to have the type of relationships they have with one another if they all went to like traditional school. And that was something that was so important to us, and we have just continued to be so grateful that they get to have these tremendous relationships with one another because they are together a lot. I mean, which can be, you know, there is a, you know, it's a double-edged thing there where they are together a lot and they're siblings. So of course, you know, there's not so great times, but overall it's wonderful. They're always playing together. They get to learn together. They, you know, get to see each other's interests and encourage one another to pursue those interests. And they're little still, and they already do that. And it's just an incredible thing to watch. So that's one of the big reasons. And again, none of these reasons are, these are in no particular order at all. These are just, I'm just kind of like unloading them, but that is one reason. Another reason is we are a Christ-centered, focused family. And with them being homeschooled, we are able to make sure that they are getting fed with God's word and with his ideals every day. And that it's not something that we're only doing, you know, at dinner or at bedtime or on the weekend. It's something that we get to make sure is a part of their everyday, all day, no matter what. That is so, so important to us. And, you know, before we had decided to homeschool, we had wanted to send them, the plan was to continue to send them to the school that they had gone to preschool at. And it is a faith-based private school. And ultimately what would have happened is we wouldn't have been able to send all of them, because at the time we only had 3 kids and we now are about to have 5, and we just can't pay for 5 kids to go to private school. So this is all, again, all worked out. Even though we didn't know what our future held for us at the time, we listened to what God was telling us to do and putting this like call on us, and we followed and obeyed him, and it's just been amazing to see it all unfold. So those reasons, and then some other, like, without like huge long explanations, we have freedom, we have flexibility, we have the ability to cater. I say we because my husband is very much a part of, while he isn't a part of like the day-to-day learning, he is a part of making this happen. So I say we, you know, of course I am the one doing a lot of the actual day-to-day schooling, but he is 100% a part of it. But anyway, I'm able to tailor their learning to each of them, and they're not expected to learn what's in this box, and if you don't learn that, well, oh well, you get either left behind or you just don't get it. And I love that I can tailor their learning to each individual child. They're able to play more. Play. There's just not enough play. We can never play enough. And I love that that doesn't play second fiddle to their education. It is an equal priority. Play and learning can happen at the same time, and they should be equally as important. And I love that we are able to provide that for them. They can play and learn and still be successful adults one day. We're able to allow them to pursue their interests and dive deep into things that they are currently interested in. And those are things that you just don't really get to do in a traditional school setting. So I just love that we have the freedom to do what is best for each child, what is best for our family, and to keep their education interesting and evolving as they evolve. And you know, speaking of evolving, you know, not every child learns at the same rate as the other one. And in just the 2 years that I have been doing this, I have seen how one of my children learns one way and my other child learns a completely different way. And I'm able to find what works for him, find what works for the other one. And, you know, if one child is struggling with something, we can stop and slow down and really focus in on what they need help with and take our time. We're not in a competition, we're not in a race, we don't have a deadline, we don't have to take a test. And there's so much freedom in that alone. There's so much freedom in that. And it's just been so wonderful to experience that. All right, so I feel like I have explained enough. I've rambled a little bit, but I just really want to express the heart behind why we choose to homeschool and why we do it and why we love it. And I am really looking forward to sharing lots of things on here. I have so many ideas of things that I want to share, and I'm really looking forward to connecting to other homeschool parents and finding another community with like-minded mamas who understand the crazy but love it anyway. So thank you so much for watching this video. I don't yet have a schedule. I'm not sure how this is gonna work yet. My goal is for at least 1 video a week, possibly 2, maybe 3, who knows? So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon in the next video. Bye!